although life comes in many different forms and sizes. Symmetry is a characteristic that almost all living things share. Observe how your left half reflects your right, or how a flower's petals or a starfish's limbs are arranged radially. Even at the microscopic level, such symmetry is still present, as shown in the almost spherical form of many microorganisms or the similar components of several proteins. In biological forms, there is a lot of symmetry, which raises the question of whether symmetrical designs have an advantage. Any engineer would tell you that they do. Designing modular, durable components that may be joined to form more complicated structures requires symmetry. Think about Lego bricks and how virtually anything can be built with them. However, evolution lacks the capacity for vision, unlike an engineer. According to some scientists, symmetry must offer an instant selection benefit. Any adaptive benefit that symmetry could have, however, is not enough to account for all of biology's symmetry at all scales. Now, a research published in Proceedings of the Natural Academy of Sciences argues that there could be a non-adaptive explanation based on concepts from algorithmic information theory. Information and evolution. Proteins and nucleic acids are molecules that transport information. They include information on how to develop an organism as well as its evolutionary history. Information has been referred to as the life's money by several theories. The genesis of life is the origin of an information processing system, according to physicist Freeman Dyson. For life to continue, information must be faithfully replicated from one generation to the next. Yet for life to evolve, process mistakes, also known as mutations, are required. Does information also guide which traits evolve? Kolmogorov complexity in information theory specifies how much computation is necessary to explain something. A text-to-speech software has a higher Kolmogorov complexity than a script for adding 2 plus 2. The metaphorical monkey banging away at a keyboard is much more likely to write up a simple script. Similar to this, simpler features are more likely to emerge through evolution than more complicated ones. According to the authors, symmetric structures are far more likely to show as a possible variant since they need less information to encode. The scientists searched for symmetry in protein complexes, RNA structures, and gene networks to verify their idea. The simplicity of symmetry. Complex structures are formed when protein subunits connect to one another at interface surfaces. A protein is more complicated the more potential interactions there are. The majority of proteins have few interface, the researchers found, when they examined the protein databank's current structures. Overall, low complexity and high symmetry proteins are significantly more often produced in nature than high complexity and low symmetry proteins. Similar results were obtained from computer simulations. The researchers also looked at the RNA morphospace intricacy, which is the space of all possible secondary structures of RNA. Their simulations once more demonstrated an inverse link between structural complexity and frequency. This was consistent with a previous study that found that 1 in 100 million potential phenotypes in the RNA morphospace are used by nature. The researchers next looked at whether the widely used model organism, budding yeast, had a symmetric gene regulatory network. Networks do really have forms. Its cell cycle is described by a collection of differential equations that scientists have pieced together over time. By arbitrarily altering the variables in these equations as a stand-in for genotype, the researchers were able to model a wide range of cell cycle abnormalities. They discovered that the real-life phenotype was less complicated than all the simulated ones, in addition to the bias toward less complex phenotypes. Evolution as an algorithmic process. Another key characteristic of biological systems is modularity, and, like Lego bricks, resourceful organisms frequently reuse genetic or biochemical components for new purposes. Despite the fact that there are several hypotheses explaining why evolution favors modular systems, this study demonstrates that the simplicity of modular components is a sufficient justification. Complex morphologies are uncommon, as demonstrated by recent study from various research teams. Incredible that all of this happens before natural selection ever comes into play. Not due to natural selection, but rather because evolution is an algorithmic process, symmetry and simplicity arise.